Hello everybody, my name is Max and welcome back to War Thunder Basic Training. Today I'm teaching you how to fly this, the legendary, the beautiful, my favorite American plane, the F4U Corsair. This is the 2.7 version, the F4U-1A. It is the earliest one that you're going to find in the American tech tree, and in my opinion, it is the nicest, the best, the most beautiful. But the Corsair is kind of a weird little aircraft to fly, and once you understand how it works, you'll have a great time in it. But when you're just starting out, it's a really bloody brutal aircraft. Now, let me talk you through it. So up front, we have a massive radial engine producing just tons of horsepower, which is lovely. We have 6 50 caliber Browning machine guns. Unfortunately, these are not the ones which are loaded with the tracer incendiary rounds. The best belt to load, in my opinion, is the universal belt. However, your mileage may vary. Stealth is another viable option. Okay, so the belts here are almost identical. Stealth doesn't have tracers, so people won't know you're shooting at them. Omnipurpose does have a tracer, so it's easier to aim. Pick whichever one you prefer. They will both do almost identical damage. However, technically, if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty, the stealth will do a little bit more. But honestly, I don't fly American as much as I fly British. I don't feel as comfortable with stealth rounds as I would in like a Spitfire or something, which is why I've got the universal in. Still, it's very much a laser pointer if you manage to get people in front of your guns. You can see that I've kind of climbed off to the side from the airfield. This is called side climbing. It's something that you're going to get used to in American planes, and it's something that I recommend you do. Now, there is a Ju-87 down there. I am a War Thunder player, so I am tempted. Because it is a bomber, and we all know bombers are weak and helpless and should be destroyed at all costs. But I also see a Focke-Wulf 190 above me, or at about the same altitude as me, and I think the Focke-Wulf is going to be the bigger issue. So I'm going to let my team prance on the Ju-87, and I'm just going to keep on flying. The way you fly the Corsair is essentially, imagine it's a muscle car, because that's what it is. The Americans, they don't build thoroughbred fighters, they build muscle cars of the sky. It doesn't really turn per se, it doesn't really retain energy amazingly well in like a turn or anything like that. What it is big, fat, heavy, with a massive engine, and it's well equipped to deal with the basics. I don't really want to go head on with a Focke-Wulf. I probably could pull it off. I do have that massive radial, but it's a lot easier just to put a couple rounds into him and then disappear. By the time he turns all the way around to try and get onto my 6, the little F4U Corsair is going to have dragged me far enough away that he's got no hope. Case in point. Now, in that head-on, I broke off a little bit early. I fired and then I broke off. You can see he's got that black smoke trailing, so that's either oil or it's either engine. Judging by the way he's sort of falling off, I'm going to guess that was an engine shot. The Focke-Wulf has got a very durable engine, so I don't think he's going to explode anytime soon, but he will have to go back to the base. So that is a plane essentially out of the battle for now. This is perfect. This is exactly what you want to see when you're flying the Corsair. I am currently the highest person on the team, which means anyone is my target. I'm going to roll down. I'm going to go for this Focke-Wulf 190. I don't know why. I seem to have some sort of vendetta against them right now. Fair enough, fair enough. Now, the Corsair, you can really just hold that wet button. Really doesn't matter. The engine isn't going to overheat in a couple of days. It's just perfectly happy to whiz down and, well, obliterate a Focke-Wulf. I'm going to pull back up. I'm going to do a nice kind of hard turn, just because I want to get out of the way of that I-16. And I'm just going to let my superior energy just drag me away from him. He's going to yeet a missile at me, or a rocket. That was a decision of all time. And as you can see, I have 400 kilometers per hour of speed, and they don't have that. So if he's going to commit to trying to get that stall, I think that's going to be a bad choice. The Yak-7 is also committing to the stall fight. He's got a little bit more energy than his I-16 counterpart, but he is also out. So I just want to clarify something for you really quickly. The stats card that I'm showing you is a stats card that I have in my hangar. My Russian planes and my German planes are not fully upgraded. They don't have all the modifications, so the stats are not entirely correct. The Corsair, it does have all the modifications. You can tell because the stats are in green. That means that it's fully upgraded. That stat is correct. I'm showing the stats cards just so you know what planes I'm fighting against, what country they're from, what ammunition they've got, all that sort of jazz. I'm not showing you them so that you guys can like look at them and go, oh, it's 21.8 seconds and that one's 24 seconds, so it's going to win. Because that's not how stat cards work anyway. And also, mine aren't fully upgraded, so that's definitely not how it's going to work. Which means it's a perfect time for me to roll around and introduce him to the 50 cals. Yeah, good enough. If you see a crit, it's probably time to leave it alone. I can't turn with an I-16. There's no world where this plane is going to be good enough to turn with an I-16. There's no world where you should be turning with an I-16. This is a Corsair. She is a muscle car. She is designed to go fast, and that is about it. So don't turn with anything, for God's sake. I do want to try and whack that Yak 7. I think I will have enough energy to get down to him before the I-16 can catch me. Because if I don't, that Yak 7 is going to get home, unless that P-38 does something to stop him. We'll see. The I-16 is going to turn. I don't think he's got the speed for it. The one thing that you have in a Corsair, more than anybody else, is speed. He's got no hope. You know, he can try. By all means, he can try, but he's not going to catch me. The Corsair is quite happy to sit at a very high speed and whiz. He's getting quite close to his airfield though, so I'm a little bit worried. I kind of do need to get this done. Bippity boppity boo, let's get out of here. So we've got that I-16 behind us still. We're going to do a nice hard turn. It is going to waste a bunch of my energy, but quite frankly, literally the entirety of the enemy team is basically dead apart from this guy. We took a hit, but that was from the airfield AA, so let's not worry. Bippity boppity boo! Add another one to my tally, please, because that is a severe damage. Once you see severe, you know he's gonna crash and die, so there's no point wasting your ammunition on it. I mean, if he still looks like he's flying, then by all means make sure he's not, but otherwise, I would just leave him. There's this DB3. Honestly, I probably won't get there first, unfortunately. I'm gonna put, you know, my balls to the wall and see if I can, but I don't know if I will. This guy is a bomber, so it should be pretty easy. However, you got to be careful with bombers because you assume they're going to be easy, and then that's the time when they're not. Picking up my 4th kill of the game. So what do we see? So we see that Focke-Wulf that I hit early on in the battle. He did have to land, and he's just taken off from the airfield. Now we've got a B-239 and a CW-21, and that is the only people left on the enemy team. So no worries. Even though that Focke-Wulf did survive, I've got plenty of ammunition left. We've got 1,336 rounds of 50 caliber. That's 12.7mm Browning machine gun ammunition, I suppose. And that is a very large shell. It's a very large shell. You don't realize how big a 50 cal is until you compare it to a 303. Now, the good news is because I hit him early on the battle in that head-on, he had to land, which means he's essentially useless. He is an energy dogfighter with no energy, which means he's essentially a bomber. A bomber who's just waiting to die. However, I can't do the finishing blow because we've got that CW who's a little bit higher. You probably remember seeing him. For those of you who can't see him, he is over there. It's honestly a little bit easier to see when you're not zoomed in, but he's right there. Do you see that little dot? That's the guy. Alright, so you see those contrails? That's the Focke-Wulf. He's pulling very hard. He's trying to get up on the stick. He's trying to make my life a misery. We don't like that, so we're going to make his life a misery instead. Bippity boppity boo, goodbye. I will see you back at the hangar. We've got like B-239 left to go. We've got 1,224 rounds of ammunition left to go. Got to keep an eye on that CW-21. I think he's the most likely to kill him, so I'm going to select him with the X button. It may be different for you, depending on what you're using. Okay, he's got pretty much equal energy to me now. Equal energy in a Corsair, that means bippity boppity boo, I gotta leave. My time is over. I will not be able to win this fight if I continue this, so it's time to just drop a gear and disappear. Now, you're not safe until you get to about 1 click. If you try and pull it a little bit earlier than 1 click, you may get away. 0.8 is usually the bit where I start thinking, okay, like he probably doesn't have the energy for it anymore. But if you're closer than 0.8 or closer than 0.1, I would say, especially when people have 50 cals, you are still in range. So don't, you know, start the party just yet. Yeah, I would not recommend head-oning with a B239 because it is just I think it's an American Wildcat, just in different colors. The CW21 is a little bit further away. This guy's kind of committing to chasing my P38 friend, so I'm going to commit to helping him out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you don't overcommit. Alright? Just because you see a kill doesn't mean you have to go for it. You can do other things other than just single-mindedly hunting kills. I know it's a strange fact for a War Thunder player, but he probably would have killed me in a fair fight had he not overcommitted to the P38. Last guy left is that CW21. We got 993 rounds of ammunition left, which is perfect. I'm very happy with that. I gotta leave him, unfortunately. I know it kind of sucks, but the simple fact of the matter is, if I keep chasing him towards his airfield, I'm gonna be in a coffin. And I am currently top of the team. There are 3 allied fighters left. I have 6 kills already. I do not need to add another one to my tally. He will lose. If he wants to sit at his airfield and do nothing, that is his prerogative. I'm going to cool my engine. When you see it's flashing red, that means that you're moments away from impacting the ground. So probably time to let it go. I might do a little bit of ground strafing. If you can see at the top there, the 2 bars. So the red bar, obviously the enemy team. The blue bar, obviously my team. Currently we are losing, which is not ideal. So we need to try and fix that. I can't do a huge amount to prevent us from losing, but what I can do is hit some ground targets. Now, if he's going to sit at his airfield, there's not a whole lot we can do. It is a... Some people are going to tell you that it's a terrible strategy. And don't get me wrong, for the health of the game and the fun of the game, it is a pretty bloody miserable strategy. But it's a strategy that you're going to find people use all the time, and you're just going to have to kind of get used to it. I'm going to hit these vehicles. The vehicles are going to get me more points for my team than anything else would, making sure that we do end up winning. If someone's camping their airfield, the only thing you can do is either climb and wait, or hit ground targets. What you shouldn't do is just feed them kills by charging the airfield AA. Gaijin has made it so that the airfield AA will kill you before you kill them. 9 times out of 10. 284 rounds of ammunition is not much. It is basically nothing. I have maybe 2 seconds of Daka Daka before I'm totally out. However, I don't think I'm going to be able to actually reach him, even if I wanted to do battle before the game is over. Fortunately, we're going to win. The winning team does get a bonus to RP and Silver Lions, so if you are playing the team game or trying to grind, which, let's be honest, you're playing War Thunder, you're doing one of those things, it is worth hitting some ground targets. This is the one instance where I might consider doing a head-on, just because I basically have no ammunition. Because I have no ammo, I have to conserve my shots. I'm going to use it now. Ladies and gentlemen, that is how you fly the mighty Corsair. I hope you guys had fun, and I hope you learned something.